All right, welcome back. We have our third match of the day. This is a singles one as opposed to the super chaotic doubles matches between Skulblaka and LusTher. This is a 1-1 match between two very talented players. We've had some interesting matches so far. On commentary, my name is Grim. I've been with the last two as well, and I'm joined by Dedu. Hey, Dedu.
Hey, welcome to this match. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what both of these players will show us.
I agree. To give a bit of history, Skull is someone who primarily plays the randomizer as opposed to more traditional speedrun categories. She beat OG in her last week, actually, but lost to Shed in week 1, so that puts her at the 1-1 record, as I said. Whereas LusTher won against Meat Shield last week, but lost against the formidable Covert Muffin way back in week 1. I'm going to be honest to do, I don't really know who I predict to win this going in. I could see it going either way.
I don't know, like, LusTher has been practicing a lot, and I know that Skull has been playing Rando for like well over a year, so it could really go either way.
Yeah, I agree. Skull probably does have more experience overall, but as we've seen, even the most experienced players can get randoed. We will be getting kicked off very shortly. The SRL race is just counting down as we speak. So we will get things going. Also interesting that both Skull and LusTher are playing in a different language. Not surprising, but it's just a, I guess, fun fact about this particular match.
Yeah, it's really like a little unique touch.
Mm-hmm. You get to see some of the text boxes and such in, well, some of the text boxes in not English, although I guess there aren't. We skip all the dialogue anyway, so.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be very similar on like movement, because they have similar times in all skills. And I know that LusTher hasn't submitted any runs on the all skills leaderboard, but he's done a few runs.
Yeah, so the first pickup was the Grove teleporter. From the Grove teleporter, without any other skills, you can reach the Charge Flame tree and the Experience Orb to the right of Charge Flame. So there are still 3 additional pickups before that happens. But we're probably going to see the early Charge Flame play from both sides.
And LusTher decided to take the 9 XP from the Rhino. That's probably to set up a level up on the fish to make it easier to take the pickup.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's something I've seen LusTher do before now that I think about it. It's an unusual play, but it's kind of smart, to be honest. Just grab that bit of early XP. You know, what the heck? Go ahead and get closer to a level up.
Yeah, you can also set up the level up by killing a few more brambles, I'm pretty sure. But it makes it like a bit harder. I don't know what LusTher was trying to do, because he doesn't really have anything to...
He wanted to open up the door. Of course, he can't get up there, which, you know, he realized after running to the right. But his instinct was, I have a Mega Energy and I ult-ard, therefore I'm going to open the door. So if his instinct was correct, it's just he is unable to do it at this moment. Maybe he'll get to later.
If he had a way to go up, that would have been a really good play, in my opinion, because going to Growth early is always pretty nice since there's a lot of pickups there.
I agree. So Skull, because of that, you know, attempted check by LusTher, is slightly in the lead, successfully checked fake flippers, and decided to keep the energy cell. So Skull still has more energy than it appears because of the Mega Energy, but Skull now has, I believe, 2 energy cells, and LusTher found a wall jump on the right side.
Yeah, I'm surprised that no one went to the Grove TP, but I guess since they found the 2 keystones, they decided to continue in Glades.
Right, and I guess you can take that. This is an interesting play. Skull got wall jump and immediately backed out to do what LusTher tried to do earlier, which is open up the 4 energy door to the Death Gauntlets. I kind of like this, to be honest. I mean, it's a time sink in that you have to, you know, run all the way back, but that's a very, very self-aware play of Skull to make. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see LusTher not do any save to try to keep his Mega Energy to open the door up after going to wall jump tree.
Meanwhile, LusTher on the right did find Stomp. So it's something that Skull is definitely going to pick up as well. Stomp can be very nice in the early game to deal damage, take out bramble walls and enemies and whatnot safely and easily, and at the same time you get to absorb all their tasty XP, which can be really solid for level ups. So it's a nice early game find, and it means that once you go down to Black Root, you don't need to worry as much about keeping the Frankie alive. Or at all, really.
So Skull finally getting a second Stomp, like a Mudstone 1 skill, Stomp. Which, as you said, is really nice to have.
Yep, agreed. So LusTher is heading to wall jump before Skull because Skull decided to back out and open up the grotto door. All these checks that Skull is doing right now are ones that LusTher's done as well. So far, not too much variation. Skull's going for an interesting trick here, though. Right to do?
Yeah, it's called Baby Iceless. It's decides not to do it in the end, but it looks really cool when one gets it. But it's pretty hard, so it doesn't surprise me that she couldn't get it. I can't do it myself.
Well, and you have to get it like first or second try or whatever for it to save time anyway. Anyway, LusTher got another energy cell. He still is, I think, carrying his mega energy, so we'll get to see in a minute how many energy cells he has legitimately. I think it's 3, which means that going through the Death Gauntlet here is still a sequence break at the moment.
He had 1 energy left to be able to save, which was really nice.
God, it's such a relief. Like, if you ever have to go here and then you die, it feels bad, and you have to waste your time retreading your steps.
Yeah, going through Death Gauntlet with 3 HP without dash without saving is sometimes a bit scary.
This is also a particular application on LusTher's side where you can use Stomp to clear out a lot of these things, and maybe LusTher forgot for a moment in the early game that you can use Stomp to take out a lot of those brambles. Did use Stomp to get down into the water faster. So with this, there are a few options. LusTher is going through the Death Gauntlet, as we're seeing, making the early play into Grotto. I don't know whether he's going to continue. I guess we'll have to see. But the other option, Skull is going to Black Root. Nope, she's not. She's going to Grove.
That's really interesting. They're both like in different areas, both checking new pickups. So, like, progression could be anywhere right now. So we don't know.
Yeah. So LusTher did make it to the Grotto TP and then decided to turn around, which I think is smart. The reason I kind of hesitated in, his viability in continuing is that you can't do an enormous amount down in Grotto with the current skill set. So LusTher just wanted to grab the TP and back out. Skull does have the door open, but doesn't have the TP. So Skull decided to just quickly check Valley entrance and is now going to head towards Charge Flame.
So yeah, it looks like we're going to get a Spirit Cavern check from LusTher. A lot of pickups there, so I really like this play.
It's a smart one, but it comes at a cost, the cost being 2 keystones. So this is a very commonly checked area because, as you said, it's really dense. But LusTher is now completely out of keystones, and he got the Grotto TP. That's useless to him since he already activated it. That's sort of unlucky.
Yeah, a bit of mouse movement showing frustration.
Yeah, especially because he made the trip over there explicitly to activate it. He also got some pickups out of the way, so it wasn't a wasted trip for LusTher. But it's something that if Skull goes to this area first, she'll have a bit of an advantage. As a result of that.
It wasn't really a waste of time, since doing Death Gauntlet in one trip is pretty good too. Instead of go into there and then back out.
I agree. Yeah, so Skull, as you've seen, is heading towards the Charge Flame tree. Rather than going to Charge Flame immediately, Skull went and checked the Experience Orb, and then used Stomp to break both barricades from the right, which is something that, at least for me, I know it can be easy to forget. But it's useful, saves you the trip jumping around, and means that you can go back to that area easily later if need be.
Yeah, I wonder where Skull's going to go now. Like, she has several choices. She could go into Spirit Caverns or into Grotto. Or she could also go into BRB. It looks like it's going to be BRB.
Yeah, and the past 2 races we had on this channel were both doubles, and so those are shard seeds. This is not, this is clues, which means that every 3 skill trees, you get a clue for one of the dungeon keys. Skull currently has 2 trees activated, Wall Jump and Charge Flame, and she'll be getting her 3rd in the form of Dash before too long here. LusTher has still only activated one tree since he hasn't gone to Charge Flame yet. Do you have any predictions on where the clue's going to be? Or just going to wait until we see? Guess we will find out. Skull is just continuing. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this wall jump. But got it after a handful of attempts. You always have to be careful of the spider projectile here, but there it goes. Only gets 3 experience for her troubles, though.
Yeah, I guess we will see for the clue. They appear in a different order each time, so we don't know if we're going to get a water vein clue or a Gourmand seal, or even Sunstone. We don't know.
Well, it's also hard to say who's making the better plays right now. LusTher is being quite thorough, even going down and checking the mini boss. Skull almost missed that spooky jump, saved it with a wall jump. This is also an instance where I don't know how much we've talked about color shift. Do you want to quickly explain how color shift works?
Well, basically color shifts change always color every pickup. So, like right now she's got a pretty dark gray or something color through. She can't really see Ori, which is like one downside. Sometimes it's annoying.
Yeah, it's Blackroot where I think it becomes most apparent, because even if you're just watching this game, well, not so much anymore, but a moment ago, it was really hard to see Skull's character, which can make it difficult on some of these precise jumps. Yeah, Skull is going to be reaching the dash tree soon. Meanwhile, LusTher found the water vein, the experience orb, within the grotto crushers. So that's a solid find. That's 1 out of the way.
Yeah, it's 1 out of the way, but they can't get up yet, so it's not useful to them right now.
That's right. It's also not going to be much of a competitive advantage. LusTher also finding clean water, so we got 2 water-related pickups right next to each other. That's kind of funny. That's an area that Skull will pretty much definitely check. It's conceivable that she skips the middle pickup, but that seems very, very unlikely for someone as experienced as Skull. And as you said, LusTher can't capitalize on the water vein right now anyway, so it's just, stick it in your back pocket and wait until later.
Yeah, and I would expect Skull to check that pickup anyway, so I hardly see her miss it.
And Skull on the left just activated tree number 3, got a clue that the water vein is in grotto, which obviously we know. But the order in which you get your clues for the 3 keys is randomized. So ideally, that clue would have been for the Sunstone, just to get that clue as early as possible. That means that there will not be another clue until 3 more trees have been activated, which means that in clues, generally speaking, the onus is on, or the focus, I should say, is on rushing trees. But right now, it's more just clear everything, since you can't really get to 3 more trees yet.
Exactly. So yeah, since LusTher found clean water, he's now checking a few pickups in gates, which is pretty nice. And he finds double jump.
That's big. Do you think Skull will return to that point once she gets clean water?
I would expect her to go there, because it's pretty near the Alt-R position, so once she finds clean water, she probably will head there.
Yeah, curious play by LusTher. He's still not going into Blackroot, and he's still not going to Grove either. Going to continue back down into Grotto and check some more pickups. Looks like he's deciding to go up from the Grotto teleporter, grab a number of pickups, and maybe even make it all the way to the Swamp TP at the same time. We'll have to see where his routing takes him. But yeah, LusTher has 2 trees pretty easily at his disposal, Charge Flame and Dash, and he's just gonna put it off for a little bit.
And yeah, double jump is so nice to be able to clear Grotto, since it was Grotto was pretty much designed with double jump and wall jump movement, so having both those skills really helps to clear the area.
Yeah, of course, in the base game you don't get Alt-R, so you do actually have to complete a lot of these platforming puzzles designed around here's double jump, now you have to work your way back up all these areas you just came down. God, that's such a wonderful pickup. I think the next big thing would be Charge Flame or Grenade, some way to break open blue plants, of which there are several down in left grotto.
Yeah, I agree. like a way to break plans right now would allow them to clear the areas better and be able to take a few more pickups without having to backtrack later if it ends up being something.
Now, this is interesting too. I was just looking at the energy counts. When LusTher came into the Death Gauntlet, which led him to Grotto, he only had 3 energy, but he was able to open the door with a Mega Energy. Skull now has 4 energy, doing everything that she did over on the, kind of left of Grotto, which means that I think that everything LusTher has done is now retroactively in logic, because opening the Keystone door is doable with 4 energy, right?
Yeah, it is. He found the 5th one, so he's now going to be really comfortable, energy-wise.
Anyway, so yeah, LusTher has a pretty big advantage on Skull specifically for Grotto, but for everything else, Skull has the advantage, has activated 2 skill trees that LusTher hasn't, and will probably check a lot of the same things in probably the same order that LusTher did, just on the way down.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good play from Skull. Like, clearing what you can on your way down to double jump tree is always nice.
Now here to direct attention left again, I wonder if Skull is gonna... Okay, no, she's not. Skull has the option, and it is in logic, to climb that left part of the 2 energy door with wall jump, but it sucks. It sucks so much. And so Skull's just gonna gamble that nothing's there. And we know there's nothing there because LusTher checked it, but it's something that is almost always skipped unless you have an easy ability to get up there.
So what do you think? What skill do they want to find now?
I think that they want either Bash or Charge Flame or Grenade at this point would be most valuable. Bash because it's Bash and you need it. Charge Flame or Grenade to break blue plants, but Charge Flame especially because LusTher found an explosion power-up, which means that it would be pretty trivial for him to get free Charge Flames. So either one would be very valuable. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say the same, like a way to break plans or Bash, because Bash opens up so much, especially with the free double Bash DLL. There's so much you can access now.
Whenever I'm watching clues, you always have to think about when can I get to more trees, and therefore get another clue. So 3 trees are usually pretty trivial to get in most seeds, but then after that you need 6, and there are only 5 trees on the right side of the map, 6 if you include Light Grenade, which means that past the first 3 you need a fair number of skills to get to those next 3 trees, unless you get really fast left side access or something. So I guess right now what I'm thinking is I think these runners want better access to the right side of the map, and then hopefully once they get Feather, Bash, a number of things, maybe even Charge Jump, then think about going to the left.
Yeah, I agree. This is a really interesting play from LusTher. Like checking one-offs already, because they still have a lot of pickups to check, and he's already checking those longer pickups to check.
This might be a case of like almost not being punished, but almost like suffering from finding double jump and stomp, before Skull, because Skull only had like wall jump effectively, like wall jump and stomp, and so it's like, all right, let's go to the Charge Flame tree. Let's go to Blackroot Burrows, clear those things out of the way. Whereas LusTher with double jump suddenly has a lot more that he can check, but he still hasn't been back to some of the trees that he knows he's going to have to go to and are arguably much, easier and more logical to get to.
Yeah, and also I just noticed they have Water Vein and double jump, so Ginso is open.
It is, but as Hal in the truck is pointing out, LusTher currently only has 2 keystones. So unless he wants to try to do a key duping Ginso, which would be very, very difficult with his current skill set, he's almost certainly going to keep searching until then. If that's a death from LusTher, I don't think it matters, since I don't recall whether he got anything valuable over there. Apparently he doesn't think so, because he's not going back to check. Meanwhile, Skull, as expected, did find the 2 water-related pickups, Water Vein and Clean Water.
Yeah, checking the discounted roof now, that's going to be... It can pay off. Like, it's 2 pickups, so that makes it like pretty worth it, in my opinion. I like to check it, even when I...
1 at the moment, because we can't break the plant.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like you said, it's it's a curious play. I don't mean that it's a bad play, but it's a curious play that LusTher is checking all the one-offs. He didn't open up the 4 energy door in Death Gauntlet, though. He could have right there. Unless... I don't think he opened it up earlier, did he?
I don't think he did. He didn't have enough energy earlier.
Yeah, he also didn't have clean water the first time he came through. So yeah, there's no way he did that. That could be progression. It looks like Skull's going to check it right off the bat. So keep an eye on the left. This is something LusTher has not checked yet. It's... Okay, an ability cell. But this is good, though. Skull is going off to the left. She's either going to drop down to the TP, or this looks very good. Maybe continue on to the water and get double jump. This is something I was worried about. If Skull had missed double jump for a while, it could have given LusTher a big lead. But I think Skull is... Oh, yeah, she's going to get it. Good.
Yeah, we've seen people miss these pickups in recent races, so it's really easy to forget about it too. So I'm really glad she checked it.
Yeah. Looks like Skull is also going to continue left, presumably with double jump to check a few more pickups. Meanwhile, LusTher is in the swamp entry area, which is a smart play. With cleaner water, you can check on the underwater pickup. You can check that pickup, the Triforce plant, because there's a Triforce Easter egg nearby. With Stomp, still no blue plant breakage. I was kind of expecting one of these pickups to give one of those abilities.
We can see LusTher on the right using a lot of reloads to get back to his saves. Saves him a little bit of time, like a few seconds every time. So really nice play.
There's been solid saves coming on both sides, to be honest. I noticed it from Skull when she checked the part of the left side of Grotto. Doing some rather long save scums, which is very, very smart. You need a lot of confidence to pull those off, to track your energy and just remember, a number of pickups to see what may or may not be valuable. Skull is also in the Spirit Caverns, which LusTher already did, but LusTher didn't have double jump at the time, and so could not check this pickup that Skull is going for right now. This... Well, I should say this, and you can tell me if you disagree, Dedu. There are a rapidly dwindling number of pickups remaining that could be more progression. And we've already seen a lot of them from LusTher and Skull, so like every new pickup we find has a higher and higher likelihood of being progression.
Definitely, like every pickup, like even Glazer could be like something. But then, like we know that like most of these areas don't contain anything since one of the two players checked them, but they don't know since they are not allowed to watch each other. So they're still checking everything.
Speaking of Glazer, there goes Skull using the Frankie to break the floor. Took some damage but stayed alive. I'm sure she'll make a save. There it is. This could be something. LusTher just went into Valley entry and did not check the experience orb up top, which can be reached with a not too precise, but a rather precise double jump, wall jump trick that maybe LusTher isn't aware of. So that could be progression. It's something Skull didn't check either. So we'll see just an ability cell from the Glazer. There's also the looming prospect of going to the Ginso tree, which isn't actually looming anymore because they have plenty of keystones. So there's just the Ginso tree would be another smart play at this point.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Like going to Ginso now would get them a lot more pickups.
Like that.
There are like 6 pickups or something on the way up to the Bash tree, but they can't check plants yet, so they can't get the first one.
Look at this, by the way. We sort of have Skull and LusTher meeting up a little bit. They're both making a similar play. They can't go to Spider Sack because they can't break the blue wall, but there is this one pickup, the Experience Orb. It is 20 XP. Looking more and more likely like Ginso Tree is going to be the place to be. It's I think part of the reason why Skull and LusTher, I might be wrong, but I think part of the reason they might be skipping the Ginso tree is because it can be very tempting to not go into Ginso until you have the ability to continue past the Bash tree, since there's so many things past Bash. But of course, those first bunch of pickups in the Ginso tree could be what you need to progress past the Bash tree anyway.
Yes, it's also nice to have the Sunstone clue when you go into Ginso, so that you would know if Sunstone was in Ginso. Like, if right now they have to alter after getting Bash tree, and then they find out that Sunstone is in Ginso, they would have to revisit it. which takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Check this out from Skull as well. With clean water, this pickup is in logic. That's a really, really smart check. I mean, that's so rare for that to be in logic. You need Stomp, you need the ability to get up there, and you need Water Vein. The reason it's rare is that runners virtually never go past that unless you're on the way to left side. But it is in logic right now. Of course, it didn't pay off, but Skull is just being very, I think, efficient as far as this seed being sort of filled with one-offs. I think both runners are doing a good job of clearing them out.
I was about to say that they were pretty equal, but like LusTher hasn't done BRB yet, so I would say that Skull has a little lead.
I would say so as well. Yeah, because LusTher went and did a bunch of checks before hitting trees. I wonder if Skull is going to go towards the Ginso tree at this point. The other potential play would be to use Stomp and Double Jump to redirect a spider projectile to get into Swamp early through the bottom route. That's not in logic, I don't think, but it's something that Skull and probably LusTher are certainly capable of doing. We'll see whether they decide to. I kind of doubt it because it's not in logic right now, but we'll see.
They could already also have access to the grenade tree if since they have Stomp, and they could like zombie or something to get through the laser. Or check a few pickups in lower BRB. That could also be a play.
Well, yeah, it's so fascinating when you're thinking about like what's in logic and what's not. I mean, at the end of the day, you're just playing Ori in the Blind Forest, and you can do whatever the skills and the game's programming allows you to do. The reason logic matters is that logic can lead you towards progression. So even if Skull or LusTher were to make those sequence breaks to Swamp or to Light Grenade, it'd be useful in terms of getting closer to finishing the seed, but they would have to keep in the back of their minds what is and is not available to them, because if they don't find progression through their sequence breaks, they're back to square one effectively.
Yes. How would you feel as a runner right now? Like if you were 25 minutes into a seed and only have 3 skills? Like I would definitely feel behind or something, or I feel like I've missed like one skill or what's one important thing.
I agree. I feel the same way. I would be sure that my opponent had checked a one-off that I didn't, and they got like something super valuable, and now they were, you know, had been rushing trees for 10 minutes or something silly like that. I think in their shoes at this point, I would go to the Ginso tree. Just plain and simple, I'd go to Ginso.
Yeah, there isn't much else, so Ginso tree definitely would be a good play right now.
I think you already said this to do, but I think there's 6 pickups in the first part of the Ginso tree, although only 5 because one of them is a plant at the moment. Also, maps are very, very low. Both LusTher and Skull have only activated 1 map apiece because they haven't found any freaking map stones. At the moment, they each have an additional map, so it is conceivable that map stone number 2 ends up being, you know, the thing that we need.
It could be, and we're probably going to see LusTher checking it soon, since he's heading to the BRB TP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely keep an eye on the right side of the screen in you know, just like 30 seconds here, whatever it is, however long it takes LusTher to get over here. This pickup is a keystone. Keystones are nice, but I think LusTher and Skull are rather set. Skull currently sitting at 10 keystones, and LusTher is at also 10 keystones. That's kind of funny.
And we finally see Skull heading into Ginso. So maybe progression
is going to be the play. It's got to be one of these places. There are so few left that can matter. Just another keystone for LusTher down there. Decided to reload, which I don't think he actually has to do, but maybe just doing it for safety. I'm very, very curious to do about the second map altar. But otherwise, Skull is about to come to her first pickup in the Ginso tree out of 5 possible, just 89 experience. One of a few things I think is going to happen. LusTher on the right is either going to find his progression on map 2. That's an option. Another option is that Skull finds progression within the next 4 pickups and continues on her merry way, or at the batch tree itself. Option 3 is that progression is plant breakage, and then they have to backtrack through the world and break open plants to find even more progression.
Yeah, that would be pretty brutal. And we see wind restored on Mapstone 2, so they don't have glide, so it's not useful to them right now, but it could be if they find glide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skull going to take out this mini boss quickly, just sort of stomping it and dealing as much damage as she can. Wind restored is a really wonderful pickup, but of course it's useless unless you also have Kuro's Feather. But if you do, then it makes parts of the left side of the map, and just a lot of parts of the game, much easier. 10 experience. There's Bash from Skull. There's progression.
And that also allows her to continue in Ginso after Bash Tree, because she couldn't do that until now.
It does. Skull died, but that's okay. It only sent her back, you know, a room and a half, and they're pretty small rooms. This time Skull played it a little bit safer and made a save. Having Bash means that we now have Bash and Stomp, by the way, which means that left side access is on the table. Skull won't be able to continue that far on the left side, but she can certainly head over there and clear out a bunch of things. I should say that she might not be able to continue.
Yeah. I'm really hoping LusTher didn't forget he has Water Vein.
I hope not. LusTher even went all the way back down with double jump to check the experience orb next to the double jump tree. Yeah, Skull with Bash, as expected, is going to just continue right onto the Ginso tree. Nice double bash to get around the spikes. I think this is a smart play from Skull. The death is unlucky, but I mean, deaths happen in Ori. It just happens. Skull definitely has an advantage right now. There's really no ambiguity to that statement. How long is it going to take LusTher now to go into the Ginso tree?
Yeah, Bash doesn't even open up that much in Grotto, since they could check a lot using double jump. So continuing in Ginso is definitely a really good play.
I'm also wondering, Skull has 7 keystones. She has enough to continue past the second keystone room, finish out Ginso, go all the way through the escape, and land in Swamp. At this point, do you think that would be a smart play to do?
Probably, because progression could be in there, and doing Swamp entry is not in logic. Even if they could do that, and it would probably be a little bit faster.
I feel the same way. So here's the final handful of keystones. Skull is going to continue, and even has 4 keystones left over, which will be nice. I mean, I'm sure plenty of more keystones will be found, but 4 is a nice solid number of keystones, especially because you need 2 of them to get to the Stomp tree.
They also have Valley open now. They could go to the Feather tree, since they have Stomp and Bash.
Mm-hmm. Skull kind of taking out that mini boss in an unorthodox way. Yeah, the play towards Valley would be smart as well. As I said, it's not a gamble exactly, because you have to go over there regardless. But if you have to go over to the left side, it can be nice to not have to alt-R and waste time teleporting. Instead, you can just continue onward into Sorrow or Misty or something, which is currently... it's possible for Skull to do some of those things, but it's going to be difficult. So I'm guessing Skull is going to spend a little more time on the right side of the map doing this, then Stomp, maybe even zombie oring down to Light Grenade Tree before going left side. That's my guess, anyway.
Yeah. Also, Stomp will be a 6th tree, so she will know what the next clue is.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about clues. LusTher, though, is still not going to the Ginso tree. Is going to be making a pass through Horror Fields. I think might even be going to grab the... oh, God, that's going to hurt. That's pretty rough. That's time lost for LusTher. He was going to unlock the Horror Fields teleporter for fast access to maybe Horror Fields, but more likely just Mount Horror at the end of the game. After dying, decided that it wasn't worth it to go back, which is a reasonable decision. Just that Baneling is not a nice creature.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I forgot about Water Vein, since he got it very early, like even before his first clue, even before getting his tree, so...
Well, LusTher has still been quite efficient about his one-offs. Maybe not quite as clean as Skull, but still playing just fine for his parts. At some point, he's going to remember because he's going to keep checking one-offs until he can't check anymore. You know, so either he's forgotten, that seems likely, or it's that LusTher doesn't want to go there, which at this point would seem strange, given that there are a number of pickups and he has plenty of keystones.
Definitely.
Oh, that was
I believe there was
what
a skill.
was that?
I didn't see what it was.
It's Charge Flame. That's incredible. Okay, so there it is. That's the ability to break blue plants. Skull and LusTher have already been able to open certain blue walls by stomping them from the right. But yeah, haven't had the ability to break plants yet. No grenade, no charge dash. LusTher paused for a moment. Maybe he remembered. Well, I'm not sure. He remembered something, sort of turning around and heading back. Maybe he's going to the Ginso tree right now. Nope, he's not. He's going to continue down.
And dash.
Jesus. Okay. So that's huge.
LusTher looks confused.
Well, I believe that was map number 3 for LusTher in any case. His second one being in Blackroot, and his third one being down there in Grotto. Sunstone Forlorn Ruins.
Oh,
that's certainly a location. In most seeds, the Gumon seal, like, you know, getting the key, the Gumon seal, doesn't matter because you rarely have to go to Forlorn. You also rarely have to go to Forlorn through the front door. And so, yeah, what I'm wondering to do, because I don't remember, do you recall whether either runner found the Forlorn teleporter? I don't think so.
I don't think they found it. I'm pretty sure they didn't. So it looks like the Gumon seal clue is going to matter for once.
Yeah, that's this seed has been quite slow. Like, not for the runners playing badly. It's just, you know, the things were kind of a little bit buried. It turns out that the correct play was going into the Ginso tree once Double Jump was acquired. Skull, having gone and activated her 6th tree and Stomp, is now heading back underwater. Has gotten a number of map stones as well. So we know that there's nothing valuable up to at least map 3, but map 4 and beyond is still a mystery.
Yeah, little correction. Fallen TP was Energy Cell at Death Gauntlet, so they both have Fallen TP.
Well, that's much better news. In that case, I'd be curious to hear Skull's logic in checking the underwater pickups in Swamp. I mean, she still needs a fair number of things, so it's not by any stretch a bad play. But Skull could be rushing left side and hoping for some more pickups there, which maybe she'll do now. We'll see. Oh, you know what? Light Grenade. Stomp and dash. Light Grenades and logic.
Oh, yeah. And she's going to Fallen Ruins.
I had to think for a second. There aren't any grenade lock pickups in Forlorn, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Skull's gonna have to do some charge dashing in order to get over to the mapstone she's trying to do. Coming to Forlorn is a somewhat reasonable play, given the fact that Water Vein is here, but Skull might have a slightly difficult time checking many of these pickups. She does have Bash, so she can redirect some spider shots and whatnot. Skull's actually, I think, going to head way back over in this direction. Maybe even decide to exit and come back through Forlorn, the front path. I'm curious how deep Skull is going to dive into this zone at the moment.
I'm curious if we're going to see casual Forlorn, because she doesn't have any way to get up like charge jump or bash grenade.
We will see. It's certainly all available. It's going to be slow, but it's all available. In most seeds, when a runner has something to do in Forlorn, they'll end up putting it off as long as possible until they have like charge jump or just a feather, like better verticality or something like that. Are you joking? Look at the 400 IQ plays from Skulblaka.
The first pickup she checks. Nice. That's awesome.
That is wonderful, wonderful news. it's, I mean, I won't lie, it is lucky on her part. Obviously, she went to Forlorn with purpose, right, to search for the Sunstone. It was lucky that it was there, because I could see LusTher in his shoes once he gets that clue, making the opposite play, like I said, saying, I'm going to intentionally not go to Forlorn until I have better mobility, at which point LusTher, with that extra mobility, might check a bunch of pickups before going to the front door and be, you know, punished for time loss as a result. That's fantastic. I love that the Water Vein was there. Or the Sunstone, excuse me.
And finally, the grenade tree play from Skull, which is really nice. She needs 4 more trees, like 3 on the left side, and that's the last one that's on the right side.
Yeah, this Baneling is a bit bugged, which is what wrecked Skull. She could also rocket jump off of it. Looks like she does want to just bash it up. Won't take too long though. Continuing to check things. If I had to guess, Skull is probably searching for Feather most of all, because Skull doesn't need to search for keys anymore. She has both the Water Vein and the Sunstone. You can see by her skill tracker in the bottom left portion of the screen. As you said, Skull only needs to activate 4 more trees. She's about to get Light Grenade. Getting to Feather won't be hard. Getting through Misty won't be hard. The only hard part is going to be Sorrow. So Feather would make it effectively free. Getting Bash Grenades would make it easier. Getting Charge Jump would make it easier. Getting the Sorrow TP would make it much easier.
LusTher is right below the Ginso entrance, so I hope he's going to go in there. Because he doesn't have any pickups left right now. He's out of one-offs.
This is yeah, he's definitely going into the Ginso tree. Did a quick cutscene skip, then opened up a save anywhere in order to skip the door cutscene. That's a bit of an advanced strat. That only saves a few seconds, but it's still a few seconds. And so that's really smart that LusTher did that. Skull, by the way, just found an extra double jump. That's just a wonderful bit of mobility in its own right, but it's especially valuable because it might make that pass through Sorrow that much easier. Skull also has to re-stomp this peg. She had stomped it in the past, but then took an intentional death via a save scum, so the game reset the door to be in a closed position. Skull is just sort of running her way with this. Skull has dash. Skull has already activated way more trees. This is Skull's race to lose at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't see her. Maybe she will have trouble with Sorrow if she doesn't find Glide and LusTher does. That could still happen.
That feels like about the only thing to me is like Feather is going to be hopefully somewhere reasonable given how many one-offs have already been seen. We don't know that it's not on the right side anywhere, but if so, it's pretty buried, which makes it, you know, statistically more likely that it'll show up somewhere along the path here. So Skull, I guess, has some options like any rando player in this situation. Could just keep searching for Glide. Or Charge Jump, or could say, I'm going to just grab Feather, go to Misty, and hope that I happen to find it along the way.
And Skull gets fast Stompless. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as LusTher finds Bash. He's going to be really happy about that.
Well, he'll be happy, but as we talked about before, and to see that is this slow, it's very easy to feel scared, because you become convinced that your opponent is like light years ahead of you. LusTher, he certainly seemed to have forgotten about the Water Vein, right, until recently. And if so, that means that he might feel very far behind. But I don't want to put you know, words in his mouth.
Yeah, we can't know for sure.
That is true. Skull drops down to the bottom of Valley to just grab a few pickups, which is smart. Feather can be down there. Is now going to head into Misty. The first 2 pickups in Misty Woods can be Glide. After that, it can't be Glide anymore. So Skull might continue checking pickups because she wants like Charge Jump or the Sorrow Teleporter or something. There are still valuable things to find. Or she might say, the only thing I care about is Feather, and I'm just not going to check anything else.
Yeah, Charge Jump is going to be her last tree, so that's why she's doing Misty now, hoping to find Glide, but we saw that the first 2 pickups weren't glide.
Looks like Skull is deciding to continue checking pickups. And actually, I want to ask you this. With Skull's current skill set, with the amount of health and energy and ability points that Skull has, can she reach the charge jump tree from, going through the caves?
If she had quad jump, which she has, well, she has it now.
Oh my gosh.
Nice timing. She can do it, like getting through noob spikes, using quad jump. But it's quite tricky, since you need to do at least 2 damage boosts.
Yeah, we'll see. It also probably requires, I don't know if it requires Ultra Defense, but Ultra Defense would be nice, which I think Skull is relatively close to. That was solid awareness of Skull to think, what do I need in this situation? I need more verticality. Let's level up and take that skill. I didn't see another save, and Skull is very low on health. Looks like she is pausing, wanting to make the save. There it is. That's one instance where you can just sort of get panicked almost and think, I must go as fast as possible. That's all there is to it. By the way, LusTher did not continue past the bash tree, which means that he's not going to get charge flame. That may or may not matter.
Yeah, like I don't believe we saw anything very important in plans.
No, Sunstone was Sunstone had nothing to do with charge flame. So unless glide or charge jump happens to be in a plant that's like easily in logic, I don't think it'll matter. But yeah, look at that. Skull is sitting at 9 out of 10 trees. The only one left is Sorrow. She has quad jump. I think that's 3 ability points, which means that she also has enough, for Ultra Defense. She's going straight back to Valley. I think Skull is going to go for gold and just not search for glide anymore.
But yeah, LusTher doesn't really need Charge Flame, since when he finds Dash, he's going to have a way to break plants using Charge Dash.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, so here we go. Skull is actually climbing back up this way. I think the reason she's doing this is that she wants to check this one pickup that Skull attempted to get during her fast Stompless, but wasn't able to get there in time. It's only a map stone. As a result, going to exit and reload and probably just rocket jump straight up to the top. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think Skull thought her save was maybe at Valley, so has to do a teleport again. Not too much of a time loss one way or the other.
Yeah, teleporters only save when you die. And LusTher gets Dash finally, on the right side. He's going to be really happy about that, but it's probably fell behind still.
I'm sure he does. I guess I'll ask this as well to do. Do you think that LusTher can catch back up and win this?
Going to charge on tree is going to be pretty hard for Skull, so... But she has got a lot of experience in randomizers, so... She can probably do it, but I would probably struggle myself to do it, so... It's not easy at all.
Yeah, looks like Skull is... thought about checking a few things, is continuing to check. Maybe doesn't feel fully comfortable. I'm guessing it's the case that Skull's going to check this just on the off chance that it is something valuable. Unfortunately, it's not. Skull could also be looking for maybe just 1 or 2 ability points in order to do a zombie Ori. Because right now, is that 0 that Skull has?
I'm pretty sure it's 0, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, zombie Ori is not an option right now.
Also, LusTher got the Gumon seal. So that's not really too important in this seed, but it might be important. I mean, the reason it matters is that the Sunstone is in Forlorn, although we know that with the Forlorn TP, it's not too bad to get to its location. So the Gumon seal is sort of not that important right now, I think.
Skull is having a little bit of trouble getting into Sorrow using double bashes on these birds.
Yeah, you have to keep the double bash chains pretty close to the chest in order to avoid knocking that bird down into spikes. It looks like Skull is effectively still going for like an all-skill style setup, even though she can just take this bird straight through. But Sorrow Bash is a trick that you do so many times that it's very easy for a runner to effectively just fall into muscle memory.
I really like this play from LusTher on the right side. Like getting past Kuro death plane.
Yeah, that's a rather advanced trick. This kill plane is active with Stomp. And so LusTher saved himself some time rather than having to go all the way around and check the bird cell and all that stuff. Just decided to head right on through. But Skull, despite having some issues with Sorobash, made it through on that attempt. Still no feather, still no charge jump. Is going to have to be somewhat careful. Getting up here is not going to be hard. It's the caves that are going to be tricky.
It's interesting to see that Skull is still checking pickups because she can't find a glide there.
She could conceivably find it from the map stone. You're right that it can't be up here. Charge jump could be, or the Sorrow TP could be, but it's so unlucky, or so unlikely for that particular pickup to be what you need. Yeah, so Skull can rocket jump to get up top here. Probably doing another rocket jump right into spikes. Might need to drop back down and do another one. This is potentially kind of bad, to be honest, because Skull's going to need all the health that she can get. Oh, I didn't even think about this.
For boulder strats.
I forgot all about this. A good thing Skull didn't. Yeah, so what Skull is doing is she's going to take this tumbleweed, the rock, whatever you want to call it, up out of this area, but she actually can't. No, she can from this side. What am I talking about? She's going to take this, and the reason she's taking this rather than a frog is that the tumbleweed cannot die since it isn't alive, which means that Skull can double bash this thing all the way through the Dorito caves. It won't be easy, but it might arguably be easier, or at least more reliable than trying to do it with quad jump. Also a very intelligent safety save. Skull is just trying to pull the rock out of there. It might have had a hitbox a little bit messed up. Yeah, so pay attention to the left. This is where the double bash chain begins. Skull finishing this off all but locks down her victory.
It's interesting that we see LusTher do Sorrow first before doing a climb tree or any checks on the left side.
Yeah, that is a curious play. It could be a play made out of desperation, feeling like he's so far behind that he just has to go for the very end and can't really waste time. Hard to see. For a second, I thought that was a Sorrow TP. It wasn't for Skull. It was the Swamp Teleporter. One more thing about what Skull is doing, and I might be wrong about this, but I'm fairly certain that you can bring this tumbleweed up to the top and then make a save, and maybe it would be up there. Although that would actually be a bad idea because then Skull couldn't reach it, so never mind. Disregard what I'm saying. Skull knows what she's doing.
You can do that.
But then she won't be able to...
You can bash the rock under yourself and then save. So the rock comes up every time you respawn.
So that would be smart since it would save the initial trip up through this part of the column. Check out LusTher, by the way, doing his own double bash sort of chain. I don't think he realized that he hadn't taken out the barricade there. That time it went. You could see by the screen shake. Who is going to get to the charge jump tree first? Further, even if LusTher gets there first, he still has to do quite a bit that Skull has already done.
Yeah, I don't know if he realized he can't get through like this.
Yeah, I'm curious what his play is going to be. Skull decided to back out, by the way. Is actually going to presumably continue searching for Feather. Yeah, teleporting back to Valley, might even take the Forlorn path to try to get a number of pickups. Yeah, so LusTher activated a save anywhere. He does have 6 ability points. The only logical reason for doing this here is to try to get an elongated sort of zombie aura going on, which might be possible. It's going to be hard, but it might be possible. More to the point, LusTher doesn't have Ultra Defense, and he's certainly not going to be able to, get it. He doesn't have enough ability points. He needs 10. He only has 6.
But the Chuck pointed out that he has practiced it, so he knows how to do zombie aura to get through the spike cave.
Well, LusTher knows his own abilities far better than I do, and I hope I'm wrong. I nails this, and I, look like a fool for ever doubting him. That's my hope. We shall see. If Skull finds Glide, then that's effectively all over. Even Skull having Charge Jump, I think, would make things much, much more palatable as far as doing all that stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely LusTher's chance to catch up. While Skull is searching for Bash, if he manages, while she's searching for Glide, sorry. If he manages to get through, that could be pretty big.
Yeah, well, here we go. You can kind of try to see what LusTher's doing behind the screen. He already spent 1 point, so now he has the save right in the middle. I think he's trying to just get as much height as he can. He's over one of the gaps, made another save, 3 points remaining. Didn't make a save there. He's trying to just jump and get as far left as he can without dying right away. Got a little bit further, not as far as he wanted, though. He's trying to jump underneath this next hanging part. As you would expect doing this trick, you don't have very much time to react. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. He's actually trying to get over the next little peg. Can he do this? He needs to get over to the left. Nope, he has to quit out and load it back up. I think he was 1 or 2 ability points short. With quad jump, that might have been more doable.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was totally engrossed by that, to be honest.
I was so impressed, like, seeing that, it's so impressive. Like, doing this behind the save anyway is so hard to do.
Yeah. LusTher also has dash, so he could have used air dash or charge dash to cover some of the ground he needed to, but I think energy was limited. So at this point, LusTher, looks like he's going to head into Misty Woods as well. Both runners have to be pretty scared at this point. I mean, we're 55 minutes into the seed.
Yeah, seeing the SRL window empty, like after like even 45 minutes or so, can be quite stressful.
Where do you think Glide is most likely to be?
We haven't seen Fields check.
You're right, we haven't. Otherwise, like, we've seen a ton of the one-offs, even stuff like the Glazer we've seen. Skull full cleared a Ginso tree, except for the plants, because she didn't have the ability to break plants until afterwards. So it is possible that the seed expects a double dip into Ginso. If so, that will be one of the last things that Skull does, I bet. Well, Skull is faced with a... Sorry, go ahead, Didu.
I'm pretty sure LusTher doesn't even have triple jump, but only double jump. So if he had quad jump, that would definitely make it a lot easier for noob spikes.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. Oh yeah, and a good point. Thank you, Vooligen. Skull actually can't access the top plant of Ginso because she performed a cutscene glitch at the water escape. It's unlikely to be Glide anyway, so like it's probably fine, but we'll see. So like Skull is continuing to check. From her perspective, the checks she's doing are smart. We know that this doesn't contain Glide. Actually, we don't, because LusTher couldn't check the plant. So the health cell isn't Glide. The plant is also not Glide. But it could have been. I guess, has Skull gone back down into Grotto with the ability to break blue plants yet? I think LusTher may have done that. I seem to recall someone breaking open the plants down there.
Actually, finding charge jump would help too for Skull. She doesn't really need... Glide would be really nice, but like charge jump would work too, since she's probably very comfortable doing it with quad jump, dash, and charge jump. Or even bash grenade would work.
There's the Kuro cutscene for Skull. Skull was pretty much running away with it. It's suddenly a heck of a lot closer. Skull currently has 10 trees. LusTher only has 9, but LusTher is heading towards his... what did I say? Skull has 1 tree to go. LusTher has 2 trees to go. But he has almost narrowed that gap down to 1. LusTher also doesn't have the Sunstone, so he's going to have to go to Forlorn Ruins. And we'll see which order he chooses to clear out everything. Right now, I'm just like pretty much eyes left when, if ever, is Skull going to find Glide? Where could it be?
Yeah, they also dash and stomp, so it could also be in lower BRB. They don't have grenade, so they can't go into Lost Grove, but like lower BRB could definitely be it too.
It could also be in Forlorn Ruins, because Skull only checked 2 things. She checked the map, which is not even technically classified as Forlorn, it's just a map, and then she checked the opening experience orb. So there are a lot of other pickups in that area. Even past the Keystone door, it could conceivably be Glide. It'd be pretty mean, but it could happen. Anyway, Skull is not going to Forlorn, is not going to Grotto. She is going to grab the Horrorfield's teleporter, making a save to restore energy. Meanwhile, LusTher on the right is heading back into Sorrow for the 2nd time, is not going to let Sorrow defeat him. Going way up into the top, does have to grab a frog to break it again, though. While Skull is checking Horrorfields, we'll see if any of these things are Glide. Could be. Not that one, although Health Cell is nice, I suppose.
Yeah, it's pretty low on HP and energy again. He probably wanted to get back into Sorrow, this time being full energy and full HP, but didn't manage to keep it all.
2 more checks from Skull in Horrorfields. There's an ability still just above the slime. It's nothing, a map stone. Well, that's maybe not nothing, actually. And then there's a pickup over here. Meanwhile, LusTher has the save anywhere open. This time he has 7 ability points rather than 6, and he has more health and energy to boot. This is so scary. I thought this was pretty much Skull's win in the bag, and clearly that's not the case. It almost looked like Skull was hesitating, to be honest, as to whether to go back to Sorrow or to continue searching, but she is going to Forlorn, so if Glide is in Forlorn, we will find out before too long.
And yeah, Judgment Tree is his last tree, so if he gets it, he's going to be... He doesn't have Sunstone yet, so that's where Skull has an advantage, but like, if he finds Sunstone and gets to Judgment Tree, he will be ahead.
By the way, LusTher made it through the Dorito Caves, throwing his mouse around in excitement. He has every right to be very, very proud of that. It took longer than he probably hoped, but he is through. This is the final tree for LusTher. He still doesn't have the Sunstone, so LusTher's going to have to come here for the Sunstone. But at this point, it's a race. Can Skull find Glide or Charge Jump, something that she needs to get to the Charge Jump tree and then finish the seed faster than LusTher can go check that first pickup in Forlorn Ruins?
I'm so impressed by LusTher. I wasn't expecting to see like such strats being used.
I was not either. It's pretty cool to see. So with that, Skull actually has like, it didn't full clear Forlorn Ruins, but cleared like a lot of the stuff sort of along the path from the teleporter back down. LusTher is in Forlorn as well for obvious reasons. He needs his Sunstone. We know that it's at the beginning. LusTher does not, so he's going to do the logical thing and wreck a Frankie just for good measure before... I think that was Climb.
Yes,
right?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay, it wasn't Glide. If that was Glide, there would be no justice in the world. But it wasn't, so there's some justice in the world. And Skull is just continuing to check. Skull, it is possible for her to reach the Charge Jump tree. We know that because LusTher did it. It's even possible without doing a zombie Ori if you double dash the Tumbleweed to your heart's content, which is what Skull tried to do, but that's just very, very difficult. I wonder how long Skull is going to keep searching and whether she's going to ever decide to go try it again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that could be literally anywhere right now, since they have like everything on the map open pretty much.
Yeah, well, speaking of everything, I mean, God, I'd love to see a tally of like the number of pickups we've checked among the 2 runners. It's got to be over 150 at this point. Charge Jump for Skulblaka. She found it out of plant in Grotto. So here we go.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh my gosh, dude. Sunstone is the first pickup in Forlorn Ruins. LusTher is heading in that direction. He'll, of course, continue checking everything because any one of these, from his perspective, could be the Sunstone. If he dies, he's going to have to drop all the way, or he's going to have to do a lot of this traversal again, down to 1 health, barely surviving in the middle. Meanwhile, Skull rocket jumping back up to the top. This is still not going to be child's play for Skull, but with charge jump and dash, and I think that's 9 ability points, Skull should be able to pull this off in relatively short order.
We saw Skull pull so far ahead, so I wasn't expecting it to become so close again.
Me neither. For a moment, it looked like LusTher over on the right was going to turn around and go back to right Forlorn Ruins. But he is going to continue. He's taking damage, but he's okay. LusTher is going to get his Sunstone at any time now. He's going to have to watch a quick cutscene unless he save glitches it. Or he'll try to go above it or something. Yeah, he's just going to watch the cutscene, so that's fine. LusTher will have his Sunstone probably within about just 20 seconds here, but look at Skull on the left, successfully made it through, got to the charge jump tree. We're gonna maybe be having almost...
Oh no, he died!
Simultaneous, that's huge. That's very, very, very important for Skull. LusTher was about to get the Sunstone, at which point he would go back to Swamp and go beeline to the very end of the game. Skull does have an advantage as far as skills, since Skull has charge jump and LusTher does not. But other than that, my god, that's a big death for LusTher.
And he decides not to save again. He's going for it.
Well, how long? Count down with me. No, don't count down with me. But LusTher's gonna get the Sunstone in just a second. But while we're talking about this, Skull has made it all the way to the door. There's the Sunstone. LusTher alt-Rs, dashing to the right. Skull needs a quick door up and then needs to get to the escape without issue. Skull does have ultra defense and a lot of health. LusTher does not have ultra defense, has less health, and doesn't have charge jump, and is behind.
And he only has double jump, and where Skull has quad jump. She also had Horu Fields TP, so a way to Montoru was just a little bit faster. And like every second counts right now.
Yeah, it does. Right now it's all down to, can Skull finish out the final escape? So she wins. If not, she is in for a scary time. They've got to just be, well, hopefully not looking at SRL because they need to finish the race. But they've both just got to be terrified that their opponent is holding right or something like that. Here we go. Pay attention to the left. Skull is in the final escape. Plenty of energy to do lots of cool stuff. Dashing to the right stomp. Skull doesn't have Feather. Decided to stomp rather than using charge flaming to break it, but that's okay. She has plenty of health. Also even has an extra air dash. So there's one. There's the second one, stomping into the water, which is clean. Skull can do fish strats. She's not going to. It's just going to charge jump and quad jump all the way around to despawn Kuro. LusTher on the right did get a first try door, but it's not going to be enough. Skull has won the race. GG.
Yeah, GG. What an insane race.
I didn't expect it to come back and be that close, dude.
Yo, same. Like, Skull was so far ahead. She had like 4 or 5 trees lead, and LusTher came back just because they didn't have glide.
That's astonishing, and it really all came down to charge jump, like, or I should say the charge jump tree, and eventually the charge jump skill as well. But yeah, GG to Skull. We'll see if LusTher can finish this out. As we said, LusTher has fewer jumps, fewer health, and just fewer everything at this point. He's going to try to charge dash through and then double jump in order to grab it. Nice job avoiding damage. LusTher also has 2 air dashes and clean water. There's the second one. Well, I guess he didn't need it. I think he has 2 air dashes anyway. LusTher is going to go for fish strats, which is smart because despawning Kuro with his skill set can be difficult. Well done.
Yeah, GG to LusTher. Really well played. Too bad he forgot about Genso. That could have made a difference.
Even so, LusTher pulled off some very, very impressive tricks. I mean, even just the fact that he was able to do the zombie ori that he did to reach the charge jump tree. He didn't get it first try, but he got it second try quite cleanly, and that's not easy to do. GG to both of them.
Skull finishing a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 44 seconds. That's a pretty big time. But this seed was not friendly at all, skill-wise, so still
No,
very
it
impressive.
was not. Wow, well, I hope you get a chance to talk to both of these guys. Even if Skull wants to interview, I'm sure that she needs a minute. So we'll just sort of verify. We may interview both. We may interview one. We may interview nobody. We're just sort of going to find out. Yeah, so Skull, as we said, 107.44. LusTher finishing 108.45, almost exactly a minute behind. If LusTher hadn't had that death at the end, if things had just gone very slightly differently, we could have had a different outcome. What a fantastic performance, though.
Yeah, we knew it could have been, like, it could be really close, and oh man, it was.
It certainly was. It certainly was. I'm just going to go ahead and pull in Skull and LusTher. I'm not going to waste any time.
I fucked up that one.
Hey, you guys.
Hey.
GG. Holy cow.
That was so close.
Yeah. Yeah. GG to both of you. Skull, I want to start with you. Let's talk about Sorrow. Have you practiced the double bash tumbleweed strat to get through the Dorito caves before?
Yes, I did it on a Master Seed when I was trying to face Inoji. And I knew how to do that, but that time I charge jump so I can save much above and reach it on the top of the floor and start from above. And this time I didn't have charge jump. And so I didn't know what to do. That's why I announced midway to it.
Yeah, well, on that topic, and this is maybe an obvious, what specifically were you looking for? It must have been climb and charge jump, right? Or I'm sorry, feather and charge jump.
Yeah, I need feather or charge jump or grenade. I was thinking about doing fall on escape to get grenade, but I decided against it because I didn't have climb or charge jump, and I never did featherless fall on escape.
Yeah, featherless escape is pretty rough. Never done it myself. So I wanted to ask a question to you, LusTher. So,
Yeah.
Did you forget about Skinzo, or did you forget that you had Watervine, or why did you delay it so much?
I forget about Ginzo. I just forget about this place. I don't know why. I checked for actually maybe 10 minutes, and I after 10 minutes I was like, oh fuck, I forgot Ginzo. and I was like, I may be behind.
Sure. Well, also when you got to the bash tree, LusTher, you didn't continue past it, right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to back out?
I was sure I was behind, so I have enough skills to rush trees, so I decided rush trees.
Sure. Yeah, seems pretty reasonable. And Skull, the next question is for you. So you guys got the clue that the water vein wasn't for, and when you went to four, you actually skipped pretty much everything and went straight to the start and then checked that first pickup, which of course ended up being the Sunstone. Why did you route Forlorn in that way, like skipping the pickups at first?
I mean, I couldn't get above to get the first pickups, so I decided to go straight for the orb that was at the entrance, and grab the orb and then check all the pickups in order. But the first pickup was Samsung, so
Okay, interesting. It's definitely makes a lot of sense. So one more for you, LusTher. One last one. We were both really impressed by your save anywhere, like zombie strats in.
Oh yeah,
in
this
Noob
one.
Spikes. So you've practiced that before, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I'm practice like a bit YOLO, but yeah, I don't know really how many zombie area I need to reach the door. So the first one was a bit close, so I went to Misty to have more ability points, and came back later.
Sure. Well, GG to both of you. That was I hope you watch it back, and I hope you have fun. It was quite a bit closer than it appeared at first. So GG to both of you.
Yeah, GG.
GG.
Cool. Well, I want to close up because there is FF4 randomizer coming up on this channel in, I think, 14 minutes, and I don't want to potentially delay them. This is not the last Ori match of the day, though. There's one more Ori match at 11 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a doubles match between Fantagen and the Fellows. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 2, like I said, at 11 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, that'll do it for us right now. Dadu, thank you for commentary.
Thanks. It was nice, really interesting match. And also thanks to J. Alcyon and Ozzy for trucking, and to Richard for restreaming.
Yeah, and for the past, since I didn't say this in the past two matches, Tara and Milden restreamed the past two, and we had you to do how Sil and Ush on tracking for the other two matches. So a bunch of people involved in these productions. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you back here either for the 11 p.m. match, or else we have a lot of matches this weekend as well. Bye, everyone.
Bye.